Promo TV, a sad day in our country. These are the 9 innocent, beautiful victims of hate and racism. Something that I've been talking about all my life, growing up as a little girl in Detroit. This is Promo TV, and we are just taking shots of this evil that this young, I'm not even going to say young man, it's evil. His parents has been out of the media. Why? Why has his parents been out of the media? Let's ask ourselves. Let's do this.
Was heard more than once. I want you to listen to just one of the voices that day.
I will never talk to her ever again.
And forgiveness, black people, is not the answer. You keep forgiving these people, they're going to keep killing you. Look at him.
Your soul. You hurt me. You hurt a lot of people. But God forgive you. Did I forgive you?
With me now, Stacey Patton, a senior enterprise reporter for the Chronicle for Higher Education and the writer of the Washington Post piece entitled "Black America Should Stop Forgiving White Racists." So let me just begin, Stacey.
Thank you. Yes.
For those who've not read your
Promo
piece.
TV.
Why do you say this? Why do you believe this?
Well,
Finesse Fran's voiceover.
The family members grieving and forgiving and doing what they need to do for their own personal healing process. So it's not that I don't find any utility in forgiving, but what I have a problem with is sort of this media spectacle that gets created out of this. In the mainstream media, what we've been hearing is this language of healing and grace and absolution and forgiveness, and it seems to obfuscate that there's really righteous rage and anger out there, and that I believe that African Americans who are experiencing all kinds of serial degradation, whether it's police shootings, whether it's a racist like this, that we should be able to express the full range of human emotions when it comes to this. Quick absolution does not lead to justice.
But is anyone telling these folks that they cannot be, express that range of emotions? I mean, I've talked to a number of people about your piece, and I think, you mentioned off the top the forgiveness, obviously sharing this notion of forgiving. It is about perhaps, your own self and your own healing, and it's what we're all taught if, anyone goes to church, to the power of forgiveness, but that doesn't mean forget.
Mm-hmm. No, it doesn't, but what I'm talking about is something much broader here. There's so much focus on black forgiveness and not enough on atonement and fixing these systemic problems. The people who've had an issue with my piece, tend to say, invoke Christianity and saying that, God forgives, God wants us to do this. But, when it comes to white supremacy, if you believe that white supremacy and white nationalism and white racism are evil institutions that need to be destroyed, then you would agree with my statement that it needs not to be forgiven. Now, if you have a personal investment in preserving an institution that protects white privilege, then of course you would cringe at a statement like I've made.
Mm-hmm. You talk about black forgiveness specifically, and you mention names in your article of folks, African Americans who have been killed recently, and I personally I'm just trying to understand the bigger picture with you, and I've talked to people who've lost children in Newtown, Connecticut, and I've talked to people who've lost sons and daughters in the Aurora Theater shooting, and they themselves, to me, bring up forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, the language of forgiveness crosses race and class lines. Yes, it does. But my piece focused specifically on African Americans in this moment. I'm talking about a collective group of people who are under siege right now, and people who need to develop strategies to protect themselves, to protect their communities. Again, I embrace
Promo
forgiveness,
TV.
As an act.
France
but
voiceover.
in terms of talking about real strategies to save
We
our
will
lives,
end racism,
I think that we need to
racism in
put
America,
ourselves in
racism
a
in the
suicidal
USA,
position,
racism in the
in the
US,
face of pure evil.
racism in the country of the USA.
Stacey Patton.